Battlefield game, did you hear? A new Battlefield game, huh? Yeah, it's supposed to be pretty good. They even put a black guy on the cover. A black guy? What do you mean there's a black guy on the cover? I can't wait to complain about this. I hate women in blacks. Look, there are no forced social justice messages in this game, and therefore, I don't give a fuck what people are saying on either side. It's a cool cover. Yeah, give some props to the Harlem Hellfighters. I didn't even know they existed prior to this game. It seems like every Battlefield game has some controversy surrounding it, especially Battlefield 5, and with my poor impressions of that game, its trailers and beta, I thought to myself, damn, I should really go back to play Battlefield 1. So I did. But just so you all know, I really didn't enjoy the mechanics of Battlefield 5, so if you're hoping for a video on that game, well, we'll see. Let me know in the comments if you really want it. But the short answer is yes. Historical accuracy does matter if the intent behind the game is to make players feel like they're in World War I. However, this attention to detail and realism should not come at the cost of fun or enjoyment on the player's behalf. Nor should it be expected if the game is not telling a non-fictional story. To the people that complain about Battlefield 1 not being realistic enough, would you have preferred if DICE made a game where everyone sits in their trenches with a shotgun, and you're constantly pummeled with mustard gas and artillery? There's no man's land, and if you go out there, well, you're basically dead. Does this sort of camping style of gameplay sound appealing to you? Oh, it does? Here, let's make it more realistic. What if you had one life, and when you die, the game shuts off permanently, and Andrew Wilson shows up at your house with the only Hellregal known to exist and shoots your ass? Sound fun? Of course not. So get the stick out of your ass. Look, I'm not trying to downplay people's complaints with the game, and I understand if you're a huge history buff or were really looking forward to a more realistic World War I game, why you might be upset with some of the game's mechanics. But if you're just a regular gamer and you are so adamant about historical accuracy, then go read a book. Watch a documentary, a movie. Temper your expectations, because at the end of the day, this is a video game. This is not Saving Private Ryan. Patrick Bach sums it up perfectly.
So we wanted to take that package and go back to the roots of what Battlefield is all about, the all-out war, and show the world for the first time what World War I could be, what it could look like.
Alright, now that I got my mini tirade out of the way, let's examine how Battlefield 1 feels. Does it capture the essence of World War I? How does it represent these gigantic conflicts? Well, it's a very interesting era to portray. The dawn of modernized combat, mechanized vehicles. I mean, there's horses in this game, tanks, gigantic rifles, submachine guns with 2 uppity clips. 2 uppity clips! That's ridiculous! I mean, all this shit is so cool. The most notorious elements of warfare that personified the conflict are all here. You got trenches, shotguns, barbed wire, mustard gas. I mean, World War I was really fucking gritty, rough, and they captured that essence perfectly. Especially in the Kaiserslacht operation. I mean, just look at this battlefield. Pun intended. Graphically speaking, this game is a wonder. It is gorgeous to look at. And folks, I'm playing it on an original Xbox One. So that's saying something. Whether it's in multiplayer or the campaigns, every setting is just as memorable and engaging as the last. With my semi-average knowledge of history, this feels like World War I to me. I absolutely love bolt-action rifles. The way the guns reload, the attention to detail with the clip sizes, the way they sound and feel. For instance, if you reload the Red 9 with a completely empty clip, you'll put the whole clip in. But if not, you'll just put in single bullets. I love that. Well, except when this happens. Yep. He just keeps on reloading. Glitches in this game are rare, but when they do happen, they're of the what the fuck is happening genre. Like this shit where my head completely separated from my body. Yeah, there's some weird shit that happens in this game, but it doesn't happen often, and it doesn't break the game. This whole game has this gritty, dark, war-torn charm to it. When you go prone in the mud, your weapon will actually accumulate mud and grime. It's these details that give the game some authenticity. And I think, above all else, when it comes to enjoying media of any type, the audience, or gamer in this case, needs to be willing to suspend their disbelief. That's not to say you should always suspend your disbelief, no matter how ridiculous something might be. Like if there was a British woman with a robotic arm in a trailer for a World War II game, I mean, that's just plain old silly. isn't it? With any genre of entertainment, you the audience should feel like there is enough of a reality in the work that you can pretend what you're playing and experiencing is or could be true. And Battlefield 1 nails this for me. Sure, a guy putting on some medieval-looking knight armor and running around with a machine gun blasting away 8,000 Austro-Hungarians isn't exactly how World War I went down, but I don't care, because I can suspend my disbelief to a certain degree. Every firearm, vehicle, piece of equipment in this game, to me, feels like it belongs to the time period, even if it doesn't. And as long as the weapons and equipment in this game are of the era, that's all that matters to me. The thing is, DICE obviously knows what's historically accurate in this game and what's not. I can't imagine the amount of research that had to go into this game. Because if you go to the Codex and read up on some of the weapons, it's like, yeah, the Hell Regal was a prototype, and there's only 1 or 2 pictures to confirm its existence, but shit, we put it in the game anyways. Here's what we thought the weapon would be like. We thought it would be fun. If you want history, this game provides it. It's in the Codex, alright? You can criticize the gameplay all you want, but the history is in the game, and that's what matters. This reminds me of Age of Empires. Point is, there were liberties that needed to be taken, and I believe DICE made all the right choices here. Above all else, because the game is fun and interesting, I found myself interested in history again. Battlefield 1 inspired me with its stories, the design of its weapons, various locations, the gameplay. Every aspect of the game is handled in a way that reminds you of the historical truth. You get briefings before an operation telling you who's attacking what, why, where. When you load into the game, you get the perspective of the soldiers or the commanders who are fighting in these battles.
Let them think they're winning. Jerry don't know us Brits. Jerry don't know us Brits. Jerry don't know us Brits.
The dialogue is fantastically written.
That said, these Ottoman savages shouldn't be too hard to clear out. You know, I'm half tempted to get stuck into the champagne already. But then, what would I have to look forward to in victory? Tea?
The war stories always start with facts about the war. It's all here to give you context, to teach and immerse you, as well as entertain. That's the thing. Despite being an M-rated game, younger audiences can still play this as it holds great historical value, and it can serve as a way to teach us about this incredibly important event in human history. I even discovered a channel called Forgotten Weapons, which is so fucking cool, you need to check it out. And it was incredible to see the weapons I use in-game in real life, what they look like, learn about their history even more. I mean, you can't ask for much more in a World War I game. It pays homage to the conflict, and it can just be a fun shooty experience if that's all you want, but if you care to go further, the historical value is here. And it doesn't need to be accurate in order to be captivating. The Battlefield franchise is well known for its destructive capabilities, its dynamic map design, all-out war, chaos, massive battles, a huge arsenal of weapons to choose from, vehicle combat, dogfights, and so much more. What Battlefield is not known for is storytelling and single-player campaigns. I once played through Bad Company 2's campaign, and let me tell you folks, the words generic and boring don't even begin to describe it. So when the time came for me to dive into the war stories, I was expecting to get bored within an hour and hop back to multiplayer. Little did I know how much my expectations would be subverted. While most FPS campaigns will have you play as one character throughout a single self-contained story, occasionally a game comes around that switches things up by offering multiple perspectives and characters to play as. I find that most of the games that utilize this method of storytelling do it to great success.
What would you have your arbiter do?
And it's true with Battlefield 1. The opening war story, Storm of Steel, is great at setting the tone, and it begins as soon as you start the game for the first time. You are part of the Harlem Hellfighters, and you are not expected to survive. You awake in the thick of battle to see the horrors of the Great War. It's very visceral and gritty. Within the first minute of popping the game in, I'm already immersed. I'll never forget getting dropped into the battle with this funky looking machine gun and holding out as long as I could. The war stories put you through all the various scenarios you will encounter in the multiplayer, such as dogfights, vehicle combat, fighting behemoths, riding on horseback, bayonet charging, melee attacks. At the end of Storm of Steel, we're left with two soldiers standing their ground, guns raised, ready to fire.